Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP, in association with thelibertybeacon.com. And I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Lenard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. I really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show. Welcome, everyone, to Season 1, Episode 35, Bread and Circus. Butt-it-up, 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 as Rush Limbaugh would say. And if you can hear the papers rustling through the microphone or not, hopefully the noise cancellation is actually cutting that out. But if you can see on at J. Leonard Detroit, YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, Brighteon, behind the scenes sneak peek video version of episode 35, Bread and Circus, I'm waving about notes. Normally, I'd say this is an unscripted show and basically comes off the top of my head. And yeah, at times I have notes. Well, today is pretty much going to be scripted, so that's a lie for this show. For those of you reading in the transcript, I'm laughing out loud. At least I make myself laugh, right? You know, that's something. As Reagan says, trust but verify. As with all of my episodes, you should be doing additional research of your own after the show. This is going to be a relatively brief show. I'm going to get you started on the subject if you're not familiar, and then homework. Yeah, I expect homework. I want, and you can't pull a Claudine Gay and go to thelibertybeacon.com for my bread and circus piece there and cut and paste, plagiarize my article. I'd like to see some 500 to 1,000 page word essays from you all on your take on bread and circus. Now, yeah, I'm partly doing it in jest, but hey, you know what? If you do homeschooling, do you see where I'm going with this? How about assigning it to your kids? And indeed, digitize their response or have them put it in Microsoft Word. Email me at jleonard@terrorstrikes.info. I have josephmleonard.us, yeah, my primary site, but I don't have email through that site. You can do the contact tab there, but you know, I don't want you cutting and pasting it into there. So you can email me direct regarding anything, anytime, any reason, questions about the show, comments about the show, suggestions for the show, anything. J. Leonard, again, Leonard without an O. It's not French. It looks like Leonard. Joseph M. Leonard, J for Joseph, Leonard without the O, at terrorstrikes.info. All run together, of course. So, yeah, how about that? If you have homeschool kids, sit them down for the episode and then issue them some homework. Send me the results. I'd love to see it. And, you know, I'll go through it and maybe pick one or two items to tack on as a new oddball off the wall segment or as part of another show or a follow up to this show. At any rate, and yes, I say that jokingly, knowing that I've adopted the at any rate as a silly verbal crutch to segue between things, but I said it on purpose this time. I'm going to read the opening paragraph of what will be the article. I have touched upon this elsewhere, a few times actually, not just with on the Liberty Beacon, but before its news, and even Red State/Town Hall when I was writing for them before this. But of late run across more folks that have no clue about what it, Bread and Circus, is having come from the Roman days. Keep the, oh, I'm going to edit this for the kids. The masses of butts, mass butts, uh, the adults, I'm sure, can probably get it. If not, go to thelibertybeacon.com, look up the piece, see the hashtag I created that I'm talking about. Us rubes, us dweebs, us peasants, to keep our belly full enough and our minds distracted so as comfortable enough, in quotes, to ignore the tyranny and be complacent and not revolt against the ruling elites. Now, I also want to point out right away, again, correlating, they complement each other, this show and the libertybeacon.com piece. Please go there. Embedded in the article will be a video, 3 minutes and 50 seconds. You could send the kids to see that. Bread and circuses. What does it mean and where does it come from? Just 3 minutes, 50 seconds, rather short. But again, it would be great if you could use this as a launching point to get them to study more in regard to that and the civics and history of our own nation they're not learning. I will go into the article regarding a subsection from Only Thing Required for Evil to Prevail, the Liberty Beacon host of the past. But as for the show, I want you to go to the article again. I want you doing both the show and the article. You don't have to, of course. I'm not demanding it. I'm not dictating it. It's there for you if you want to do both. But you can, of course, just do one or the other. I'm going to skip ahead in my notes because this also has to do with our education system. As I alluded to, if you're homeschooling, even if you're not, issue your kids some of your own homework since the schools aren't teaching them anything. Get them involved. As an aside and throwback a couple weeks ago on TLB, I was talking about all the online virtue signaling as part of the deflections and the distractions and the distortions. Keep people chattering on endless stuff that doesn't matter all that much online, keeps them from doing actual things. And that important thing about you shall be known by your fruits, not your online hot air spewing chatter, but things you actually get up off your couch and go out and do, like going to a school board meeting or going to a city council meeting or going to a party committee meeting, being a precinct delegate and being involved so that then you qualify to go to convention instead of you constantly whining about rhinos and the supposed uniparty. No, it's not. There are plenty good Republicans fighting hard. The rhinos, the stenos, and the fascocrats are the ruling elite establishment, deep state hacks. But what are you doing? Be a precinct delegate, be involved, qualify to go to convention, and thereby elect a county convention first to elect your local committee, and then potentially qualify for the state convention to elect your statewide leadership, and then also qualify to potentially go to the national convention and even a chance at being a presidential elector at the national convention. Do not just talk, do. We must all do. I also will have another video from years ago on my YouTube, Know Nothing Snowflakes, on both the right and left. We must educate. That one's about 10 minutes long, and that is Michigan related, but it could be anywhere, about ballot initiatives and idiots who think they're doing something. It's we gotta do something, like currently, as I record this, the week before, we're going through the U.S. Senate rhino sellout de facto amnesty bill they expect to try to ram through the House, that thankfully Speaker Mike Johnson says is dead on arrival. It needs to be. The Senate never took up the House's H.R. 2, good immigration border security bill that would enforce the border. No, instead, Rhino McConnell, the open border rhinos and CINOs in the Senate, teaming up with the Democrats to try to give Biden a de facto amnesty bill. Clearly, they're worried Trump is going to win this next election. So they want to codify amnesty into law. It's a bad bill. There's only three things in it really of any importance. The first being it gives unelected deep state bureaucrats, not the Border Patrol, not the amnesty court judges, where it's supposed to be done, but deep state bureaucrats, the literal right to hand out green cards. Just give out amnesty. Oh, they're what's not not consideration. Discretion is the word I'm looking for. They're given discretion to give away amnesty. So, these poor people that are crying amnesty that don't qualify for it can just be handed a green card and next year citizenship and voting rights. That's what this is about. The second part is it codifies open borders at a level of 5,000 a day, about 1.9 million a year. Then, after that, the president can, not shall, not required, not should, can, could declare for about 180 days an emergency and shut down the border, as if any Democrat would do that. Because again, the current law that says zero illegal immigration doesn't say could, should. It says you shall enforce the law, but they are in dereliction of their duty, should be impeached. It is treason for violating their oath of office. They are violating U.S. law. They are aiding and abetting foreign invaders. These mostly 95% plus middle-aged, military-age males from virtually 85% of all nations on the planet coming across that border. Hundreds on known terrorist watch lists, interdicted but still let in. How many hundreds or thousands more that we don't even talk to know they're on a list have snuck into the nation? But I'm going to go ahead then and wrap it up, because again, you should always go to the article. But again, this involves education, right? The dumbing down of America, the stupidification of America, the wussification, especially of our boys, so that they don't know anything, only are interested in what? Pleasure, just distractions, distortions, anything, any shiny object to catch their eye, to keep them away from paying attention to what their ruling elites are trying to do to them. Mainly fascocrats, but I'm no party hack. Yes, Finos and rhinos also. So I want to read from my ChristiTutionalist Politics, the book, and watch for ChristiTutionalist Politics 2, second book, follow-up book, coming on or around June 1st of 2024, reading from my book. Seriously, sadly, education is so darn poor in the Western world these days, people know no history or virtually anything else. In USA indoctrination factories and other supposed free society systems are peddling radicalism, raunch, slash perversion, in quotes or parentheses, pedophilia, no R in there though, and an R. You'll see why it's important in a minute. Racism, as in CRT, not trying to tamp down racism, but instead stoking racism through leftist identity politics. As you can see, I'm ad-libbing a little extra here. Anti-Americanism, the new honors, as I call them, to our entitled, lazy participation trophy, overblown self-esteem buffoons, know-nothing brats. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about all children here, but you know some of the neighborhood kids that fit this. They don't know anything. They don't want to know anything. They just want to run around the neighborhood and get into trouble. You know, the kind that's going to be the future criminals of our nation that the left refuses to lock up when they commit crimes. At any rate, yeah, I used it again. I know. I'm laughing for those of you reading in the transcript on purpose. Meanwhile, China is teaching their children the traditional R's of reading, writing, arithmetic, history, science. See what I did there? Because some kids are so dumbed down, they wouldn't know the R doesn't belong in there. And indeed, also, as I mentioned elsewhere, I cannot avoid bad, lame attempts at humor, puns, to lighten the mood at times during these very serious subject discussions. Virology, another R don't belong in there. Half the kids don't know it doesn't, though. Not fake genderism, where there is an R. They're teaching in China and abroad, in Russia, our nation's enemies, honor, respect, work ethic, and the like. So that's it, kind of short and sweet today. And if I'll read the concluding sentence or paragraph, whatever, of the article because it's an ongoing running joke about how long my articles get at time. Roger over at the Liberty Beacon says, you know, the ideal article for those on our site, it's been shown that read 800 to 1200 words. Well, I just get warmed up at 800 to 1200 words a lot of times. But this article, actually, this time for thelibertybeacon.com, that will be entitled Bread and Circus, falls into the 800 range. I know they're going to hardly believe it over there. So I joke in conclusion on the article. Yep, that's it. Short and sweet. I know what you're thinking. What did they do with the real Joseph M. Leonard? Because this cannot possibly be really one of his usually long pieces. LOL. Take care and God bless all. See you again next week. That is how I conclude the libertybeacon.com piece because, again, yes, even on my shows, I try to keep them 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes they creep to 45. Every once in a while, they'll creep over an hour. I can get very long winded. Yes, I know. I'm aware. You don't need to email me about that. I'm well aware. LOL for the transcript there. At any rate, yeah, I did it, third or fourth time this show on purpose. I'm poking fun at my own stupidity, my own inability to have not gotten into that trap in the first place, and now my conscious trying to work out into my subconscious that going forward, hey, dummy, stop doing that. So, indeed, I hope to see you all next week. Indeed, take care. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I hope that God may bless you and keep you and provide for you in these very, very harsh, tough times we're dealing in right now. one of the primary reasons why I started ChristiTutionalist Politics podcast and dropped ChristiTutionalist Politics, the book, in August of 23, and CTP2 book coming June-ish. June 1st is the current target date of 2024. Please check out past ChristiTutionalist Politics podcast episodes. You could go to tinyurl.com/ChristiTutionalist, shortcut to Buzzsprout, where the shows are housed. You can see every episode there in case if some other of the 14 platforms the show's carried on doesn't have an episode for whatever reason. I don't know. I've not checked them all. If there's any censorship going on, if any of them have been pulled or not, I sure hope not. I've just recently spoke on censorship. There's a show, an article on that. Of course, during this, I refer to occasional distractions, not just okay, but healthy. In this week's article, Bread and Circuses is mentioned there briefly, but I wanted this standalone show on it, as well as only thing required for evil prevail article. There was no particular show, but it is indeed covered in ChristiTutionalist Politics, the book. So I've rambled on enough now. You're probably tired of hearing me. Maybe you probably preferred it when I stuck to the script. Laughing again for the transcription note. Take care. See you all later. Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. Be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff. No fancy high production intro or inserts, at least yet, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help to grow the show.